amazingly awe-inspiring and innovatively brilliant as we reflect His marvelous power and glory in the earth. Did you catch all that? That's who He created you to be. But very few are dreaming big in terms of bold, innovative, and God-inspired. Very few are accomplishing big things from that standpoint, from a life that actually God says, you know what? I want to actually honor your commitment. I want to honor your sacrifice. I want to honor your tears. I want to honor your pain. You know, I want to honor the things that you have invested all this time, all these prayers, all these sleepless nights, all these frustrating jobs, unsatisfying issues and situations, broken relationships, all this stuff that you have had to go through to accomplish your big dream. God says, you know what? I got you. And no matter, again, how big or how small you think you are, God says, I got you. Reposition is a workshop that helps people focus or refocus really their career paths from employment to entrepreneurship. I mean, with a lot of the challenges in the marketplace and the economy, one of the things that people really need to understand is that the economy is never going back to how it was before, and people really need to assess where they are today, their skill sets, their abilities, their talents, and how they can strategically position themselves in the marketplace in the future. So it's really for people, again, who may be unemployed, underemployed, or maybe employed in the wrong field or career and are looking to really transition to something that's going to be more fulfilling but also more profitable.
The seminar was really helpful to me because I'm going through a lot of challenges, particularly on my job. A lot of companies are laying people off or downsizing. I'm sort of threatened with that myself, but also just to be prepared for if that happens, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life? And that is not, over with.
The three major benefits that you will take away from this coaching relationship are access, accountability, and an action plan. Access would be the opportunity to interact with me and my team in terms of just really helping to push you and motivate you to get to where you want to be, as well as the practical instruction. The accountability comes in with me also as a coach to help me keep you on track, and with other of my team members, as well as if you're in a group coaching session. Other individuals who are in that group also helping hold you accountable. And then the action plan, which is customized to who you are, what you want to do, and where you want to go. So each individual, whether you're in a one-on-one coaching session or you're in a group session, you're going to have a customized action plan that you're going to be able to take with those practical tools and what you've identified as resources, as well as those milestones and deadlines that's going to help keep you on track and help keep you moving along at an appropriate pace in terms of, again, where you want to go, how fast you want to get there. What are you thriving for? Not what are you striving for. What are you thriving for? What are those things that are so impacting to you that you're pursuing based on your purpose, based on your passion, based on your profession, that actually cause you to say, I'm not just striving for this, I'm thriving. And thriving being a mindset, an attitude, a perspective, more than, let's say, something that, tangible potentially that you're even chasing after. Or thriving has, again, nothing to do with your external circumstances, but has everything to do with your internal environment. And again, your mindset and your perspective in terms of how you want to live your life, the aim and the direction that you're going in. The Reposition Workshop is a 6-hour session that helps people focus on shifting their life from striving to thriving. And we really get in and focus on some of their personal development aspects, as well as their career and long-term the future that they want to pursue within that time frame of reposition. Some of the hard questions that people will be able to answer about themselves after reposition. One of the questions is definitely, what is my purpose? And why am I here? And how does that relate to my career? And how do I express my purpose within my career? The other thing to really understand, and a question that people will be able to answer is, what is my passion? A lot of people think that passion is just things that I'm excited about. Passion to me goes a lot deeper than that, from the standpoint of what are you willing to persevere for? What are you willing to fight for in terms of the things that you care about, the things that you love, the things that really mean the most to you in terms of the impact that you would want to have in your career, but also in your life overall. So being able to answer that question, what am I passionate about? And then the third key question is, what truly are my professional skills that I can leverage in the marketplace in order to be able to fully flourish in my career financially, as well as having meaningful significance in terms of what I do and how I do it. I'm going to plan my life, put the strategic plan in place, and they put all these actions together and they start running ahead. But they haven't stopped to say, who am I? And they haven't taken an inventory of really where they are right now, who they really should be. And they begin to pursue things, whether it be money, this great career, or even happiness, or even a relationship in a way, but they don't know really who they are. And so those things can actually lead them away from who they really are and what they can really do and impact in terms of their calling, and again, their purpose and their passions. And so again, I'm asking you today, where are you? Who are you? Who have you been created to be? What is your identity? Aside from not where you work or what your job is, what your profession is, what is your identity? What words would you use to describe your identity?
I am a teacher right now, and I work in youth ministry, so it's kind of like God gave me a passion for kids, and I see that, but it's like the vein that Paul had really was on point. Your passion, your profession, and then your purpose, and trying to make that thrive in the center of your life.
My personal journey plays a key role in the reposition workshop because I first had to reposition myself from an employee to an entrepreneur. A few years ago, I had to come to a difficult decision. I had a long career at a Fortune 500 company, a successful career, I would say, and it was probably still on the rise. However, some of the things that really meant the most to me in terms of my personal fulfillment and really being able to express some of my creative abilities, some of my talents and skills weren't being used in that environment. It was a very conservative environment. So again, good people to work with, work for, but from a personal fulfillment standpoint, it wasn't being satisfied. So I had to make a decision to pursue a path of entrepreneurship, and it took a long time to come to that decision. But once I made that decision, it was one of the most difficult things I had to do, finally leave that company voluntarily. But at the same time, it was one of the most empowering things that I did to finally reposition myself from an employee to an entrepreneur and fully pursue my purpose from a career standpoint. One of the key concepts that people often gravitate towards when I'm talking to them about some of the things that they've read in the book is what I call the B statement. And it's from the standpoint of do have be versus be do have. And let me explain what I'm talking about. It relates to your identity. And you may have heard the statement, being precedes doing. That is true, but most people don't pursue their career, their business. In a lot of cases, their life from that standpoint. So when you look at do, have, be, it's often people do first, then they have something in order to become something. Let's say they want to go to, let's say medical school. That's their do. They have a degree or a PhD or whatever it might be. And then the be is, I became a doctor. So their B is wrapped up in a profession. But my question is, what happens if that profession is taken away? Or if a person doesn't make it all the way through medical school and they wrap their B in a profession? What happens to their life then? I think a much more healthier way to look at your life is from a be, do, have. From the standpoint of, if my B, let's take the doctor example again, is a healer or someone who helps people, then again, my do, and okay, I may go to medical school, become a doctor, but also I may have other options. I could become a counselor as one whose B is a helper. I could become a consultant. So I have a lot more options, and of course what I have at the end, of course, could be fulfillment, could be money, could be many things. But if somewhere along that pathway I don't get to medical school, it was a goal, it may be painful to change, but it's not going to wreck my entire life because I understand my identity wasn't wrapped up in a profession. My identity is tied to, again, what my purpose is. And if God's created me to be someone who is a helper or a healer, one option could be the medical field. Another option could be a consulting field or a counseling field. So my perspective is much broader from that standpoint in terms of what my do is if I understand my be first. My B is a big dreamer. And as I understand who I am and how I'm supposed to help people, I think if nothing else, I'm supposed to help them think bigger and broader than they already are. Another one of my B's, I say, is an entrepreneur. and not necessarily from owning a company, but from the standpoint of a person who identifies problems, as well as identifies solutions and brings solutions to problems that creates value. To me, that's what an entrepreneur does. So whether I own a company or not, I'm thinking entrepreneurially in most environments that I go into. Another B is a leader. Again, no matter what environment I'm in, whether I'm home with my family, whether I'm in business, whether I'm at church, whether I'm in the community, I recognize that I'm a leader and I need to take a leadership role in every environment that I am. So my B, I say with both parts. I'm definitely a strategic leader, I'm an entrepreneurial thinker, and absolutely a big dreamer. Do have B versus be do have. Do have B. Those are individuals who identify themselves by what they do. I am a professional speaker. I professional speak because I have influence, but I am a professional speaker. So that's their identity. What happens is, what if that professional speaker lost their voice? And that was their identity. Where is your identity? Is your B actually your profession? Or is your B something else that actually wouldn't matter what profession you were doing, you were that B? That's what the B is down here, where I begin with who I am. I begin with my identity. I start there. And then I move out and do things. I participate in things. I work a job. But if I lost that job, if I lost my family, if I lost all my money, my B is still the same. And I'm secure in that, and that's clear in terms of what that is. One of the things that sparks a lot of conversation in the book is the concept of the dream bridge. And basically what that shows is our dreams over here, God's will is over here. Or really what we perceive to be God's will is over here. And then there's a gap in the middle. One of the most important things I think we need to understand is that our dreams were actually, if it's God inspired, were originated by God in the first place. So the things that and desire that He puts in our hearts to do, He placed them there, so therefore He wants us to accomplish those things. So one of our focuses in terms of to fully maximize our potential, our talents, and our giftedness is to really understand, and at least attempt to understand, what God wants us to do with our dream and really with our lives ultimately. Very similar to the repositioning workshop. Dream Big in 3D is both inspirational and instructional. It's absolutely motivational when you read some of the quotes and thoughts and ideas that I have in there. But even more so, I think, which is more important, is practical instruction and almost like a manual that you would go through. It's a very short read, but if you really take the time to answer all the introspective questions that I present in the book, as well as a lot of the exercises that are in there, it's really going to challenge you in terms of how you think and also how you live once you put that book down. So I believe, again, very practical tools that are in there to help you take your dream out of your head, put it into your life, and to use your dream to accomplish the God-given purpose that you have.
And my dream is to impact lives, to transform people's lives, to encourage, motivate, and make a difference in this environment through being yourself and being different.
My big dream is basically to be an encourager and I guess in a way a healer through theatrical plays and through film, also through music.
My big dream is to pursue and use my God-given talents and abilities to not only help myself and leave a legacy for myself, but to also help others leave a legacy and to find their God-given talents and abilities as well.
My big dream is really just to live a happy life, to be successful in my business endeavors, my family, my spiritual walk with the Lord, and all those things. And I find that they all interrelate with each other.